AirTouch cellular phone, a free call at pound 1450. We'll get to your calls in just a moment, but joining us right now from the 8-Count Boxing Hour, been with us several times before, Dan Cisneros. Dan, welcome back to the program. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me back, guys.
You got it, man. Good to talk some boxing with you.
Oh, I love it.
First of all, I was just mentioning that I thought, and Dom and I had talked about this many times leading up to this fight tomorrow, that this is a make-or-break fight for Danny Romero, Jr. Do you see it the same way?
Oh, I definitely see it that way. Yeah, I mean, you know, after the eye injury and the two fights that Danny's had since he came back have not done a lot to, you know, prove the point that he is back and he's the real thing and all this, and the move up in weight. He has to win this fight. You know, boxing, how boxing is, if you're not undefeated, you're nobody. And if you have one loss, that hurts, and if you were to have two losses, that kills you, man. So this is a big fight for Romero, no doubt about it.
Now, Dan, I know you get your hands on a lot of videotape. From what you've seen of Harold Gray, how good a boxer do you think he is?
Well, he's a fine boxer. He's a fine boxer, but to tell you the truth, guys, I say picture Tommy Hearns without power, and you have Harold Gray. I'm not impressed with his power, and frankly, he got hurt. The tape that I've seen of him, he got hurt in every fight, and the guy that was fighting him wasn't, you know, the explosive one-punch knockout artist that our kid Dynamite is. So Harold Gray is, you know, he's tall, he's got long arms, he's a lot like the Tommy Hearns type fighter, which is a fine boxer. He can really box real well. But I don't think he has the power to go with Romero, and I'm going to make a prediction right now. I don't think Gray's going to last 5 rounds with Kid Dynamite.
Really?
Really.
Now, is it because of the way they match up, or do you think this is just looking at Danny Romero Jr., where he's out of his career, that he's just so hungry that he'll knock out anybody that he was getting in the ring with?
Oh, yeah. Danny Romero is like a roaring lion. He always has been. I mean, that's something that impressed me the first time I saw him fight, even as an amateur, that he had the attitude of a hungry, roaring lion that's just out to just, you know, destroy people. And looking at Harold Gray on videotape, he's that tall, gangly kind of fighter that can move real well and can frustrate you.
Hey boxing fans, welcome to another 8-Count Boxing Hour. This is your host Dan Cisneros, and I'm here at Sandia Casino. We're just about ready to get underway with the press conference for the Rumble on the Rio Grande. Of course, that's Johnny Tapia and Danny Romero defending their titles. Those fights will be shown on HBO. But this is the press conference here at the Sandia Casino near Albuquerque, New Mexico. Steve Simons, the manager of the casino, is up on the stage now. There you're looking at Tapia and his camp. And we're just about ready to get underway with the press conference, so let's go to the action.
Thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. Governor Alex Lujan sends his apologies. He cannot be here due to an earlier afternoon commitment, which is taking a little longer than he expected. He may be able to join us a little later. On behalf of the Pueblo of Sandia, I would like to welcome all of you to Sandia Casino, which is an enterprise owned and operated by the Pueblo of Sandia. Being the major underwriter for these exciting boxing matches being held this weekend is a great undertaking for the Pueblo of Sandia. Indian Gaming, Danny Romero, Johnny Tapia, and the Rumble on the Rio Grande have created this opportunity, which only is the beginning of what we hope will be an economic renaissance benefiting not only the Pueblo of Sandia, but the greater Albuquerque area and the state of New Mexico. Thank you. The people of the Pueblo of Sandia and Sandia Casino Management would like to express our thanks to all of the New Mexicans who support Indian gaming. Thank you. Before I go on with some introductions, I'd like to bring up some keynotes about this event. This will be the largest boxing event in New Mexico history. Number one, it will be the first time HBO is in New Mexico. This is our first venture, Sandia, the Pueblo, and Casino, but probably not our last. And we are committed to bringing quality entertainment to New Mexico for all of its people. like to introduce the head table, beginning at my extreme left, yes. Arthur Curry from HBO. Danny Romero, Sr. Ron Koch. Danny Romero. Mr. Cedric Kushner. Todd DeBuff, top rank. Johnny Tapia. Teresa Tapia. Jesse Reed. Darius McCrary of the Tapia camp. And Danny Chavez, personal assistant. At this point, I'd like to reintroduce Cedric Kushner, who will MC the balance of the news conference, and bring him up to the microphone.
Thank you very much, Steve. Good afternoon and welcome to everyone. There's some events that I'm involved with that no matter how hard we work on them, I never think they'll take place. In a sense, this was one of those events. But given the importance, common sense prevailed, and that's why we're all gathered here today for the official press conference for Saturday, March 8th. Terrific doubleheader, 2 World Championship fights, and a sensational evening of boxing, which will be televised on the HBO network and also live around the world, showcasing Albuquerque, New Mexico, and showing the world what kind of fans, and of equal importance, what kind of quality boxers come from Albuquerque, New Mexico. First person that I would personally like to introduce to say a few words before I extend my thanks and do whatever I have to do is Mr. Arthur Curry, who is representing HBO, whom I said a few moments ago will be televising this event throughout the United States. I'd like Mr. Curry, Arthur, to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Lou DiBella regrets not being here. HBO and Boxing After Dark are happy to be in Albuquerque with this great show. Johnny and Danny Romero are 2 of the most exciting young fighters and deserve to be on HBO. With no disrespect to Jaji, Sibali, and Jose, excuse me, I'm a little nervous, this is my first time. Barrera, we and the boxing world are looking forward to a possible super fight between Barrera and Romero. If the fighters and promoters can work out all necessary details with Albuquerque, we would love to come back for this great fight. Thank you.
Thank you, Artie. As Mr. Simon said, the governor is not here, but we do thank him for his support, and we're sure that we'll see him Saturday evening. There are a couple of people that are very, very important to this promotion. In actual fact, telling it as it is, Without them, we wouldn't be here today. Of course, I refer to the Sandia Casino General Manager, Mr. Steve Simon. Thank you, Steve. As Steve said a few moments ago, the Sandia Casino and the folks at the Sandia Casino are really keen on bringing a lot of major events to Albuquerque and to New Mexico, and this is the first of many that I believe my company, Cedric Kushner Promotions, and also Todd's company, Top Rank, will be involved in. So we do hope in the future that Sandia Casino will be hosting numerous events. I want to thank Marsha Hardiman and Kathy McGill. I was going to say I wasn't sure if they were present. Thank you, ladies. Mr. Max Abader from the New Mexico Athletic Commission, as we refer to him, Max, the commissioner. For better or worse, without them, we couldn't be here either. Our sponsor, Anheuser-Busch. No applause for Anheuser. That's why I'm selling for Saturday night, aren't they? The local media, the support they've given us, without making a pun, is beyond words. Truly fantastic. Some days I've thought of it as support. Some days I've thought of it as a personal assault on me, a personal harassment on my staff. I only say that facetiously, of course. We appreciate the tremendous support that you've given this fight, this whole show, and of course these two great world champions. Obviously, I include all forms of media. This wasn't written down, but I do have to thank them and extend my my personal gratitude to our local friends, our local promoters. I'm referring to Mr. Bob Pierce and to Kevin Kaplan. Thank you, gentlemen. And now it's time for me to introduce my partner, my associate. I refer to Top Ranks, Mr. Todd DeBuff. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you very much, Cedric. You've got a lot of paperwork up here. I know we've all, coming behind Cedric and Steve, there's a lot of thank yous, a lot of acknowledgements, and I think everyone really wants to hear what the participants have to say. So I just reassert those same feelings that Cedric has with, obviously, the Athletic Commission, the fans of Albuquerque, and say it how it is, it's very difficult in any business to have attractions. Cedric's in the business, Top Rank's in the business, and it's really a tribute to the fighters and the people of Albuquerque to have great attractions. And with that, just keep in mind, when the applause can come, both of these fighters have started off in club shows. Both of these fighters went to the ESPN level. Both of these fighters have now made the next step. Johnny fought on ABC in August, Danny fought on ESPN sometime in November, I think it was. And now we're really making the next step. And it's a tribute to all of you, and most of all, it's a tribute to the gentlemen at the dais. So I think we should give them a big, large applause. Before I get involved in a further discussion about the promotion, I'd like to acknowledge two individuals. one individual who's sitting on the lower part of the dais. His name is Vasily Jirov. He will be on the card. He is the Olympic gold medalist from Kazakhstan. He won the Outstanding Boxer Award in the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, and he's committed to it. He's going into his 4th fight, and it's great to have a guy from all over the world come here to really future his next boxing career, and that's as a professional. And I think we all should acknowledge the great Olympic champion, Vasily Jirov. And the other champion I saw here, who is associated with the Barrera camp, is the great Marco Antonio Barrera. And I think, without a doubt, I think everyone here should give him a great round of applause. He's a great champion. All right, now comes it's almost like a little game here. This is almost like when De La Hoya fought Ruelas quite some time ago, maybe, I think May of '95, we had 2 great champions. And there were so many difficulties of who does what, who does this. So this is our version of like Wheel of Fortune, and I think Steve Simon's going to be the Vanna White. Right. We have on a $100 token, chip, $100 chip from the casino, a T in black on one side, and an R in black on the other side. And what we're going to do is I'm going to give this to Steve. This said token is now in Steve's hand. I have nothing to do with it. Can I have it after this, though? And we have 2. Steve is then going to flip the coin. It's going to land either T or R's. Whoever's fighter comes up on top has the choice of 2 propositions. Now, the propositions are here on the right, and I will read them to you. Proposition A is you get introduced first at the press conference. You weigh in second tomorrow, and you are the final bout on Saturday night. Proposition B is you get introduced second at the press conference. You weigh in first tomorrow, and then you are the semifinal bout, or the co-feature, which would be the first bout. So with Steve's approval and everyone's approval, I think we anxiously await this. I think Steve should head down to the floor so everyone can witness this. He's going to pitch it up here, and it's going to land on the floor. And Artie from HBO will call which is up, and I hope both fighters know proposition A or B.
Right out here. Vanna didn't have enough strength to make it from the dais. There you go.
Here's Johnny.
I'm going to leave it up to the Tapia camp. I have nothing else to say because I don't know where this press conference goes without him making a decision on proposition A or B. So, Johnny, I think your camp should make the decision of if you would like to be the semifinal or Danny Chavez is going to come up, but Danny Chavez is going to make the determination of this.
Actually, Johnny and Teresa had already discussed it, and it'll be proposition 2. Johnny will be fighting first on the HBO card. Just to talk for Johnny and Teresa, they'll say their own thing. I just want to say that Teresa's excited about the new changes taking place on Team Tapia. She's very excited in her new role as a co-manager, manager for Johnny Tapia in his career. And she's looking forward to the future bouts and the changes that will be taking place, and very excited about it. Also, they wanted to really thank Darius for coming out today and sparring with Johnny in a training session today. That was very good of him. Darius is a star of Family Matters, and he's helping motivate Johnny for this fight. Okay, and tomorrow Tommy Morrison will also be coming to help Johnny get motivated for this fight. Not that he needs it. Johnny's pretty hungry right now for this. And also, I'd like to introduce Jessie Reed, also a new member of... She wanted me to do that. Well, thank you. Let's have a big round of applause for Johnny Tapia.
Before I introduce the Romero camp, I very briefly want to just acknowledge some of the folks down on the lower dais here. On the extreme right, sorry, on the extreme left, a young man that you saw in Danny Romero's last fight, a terrific fighter in his own right, Mr. Polo Saucedo. Someone that you're familiar with from around here, together with his dad, Mr. Chris Linson, and Mr. Linson Sr. And someone that I'm very familiar with, the gentleman that is involved with two current world champions, one Olympian, one former world champion who had 7 successful title defenses, a terrific boxing man, terrific gentleman, and a good friend of mine. He's come a long way from South Africa to be here with his fighter. I refer to Mr. Z. Ngumi. He's the manager trainer of the IBF 118-pound champion and Butili, and also the 122-pound champion Vianney Bungu. The gentleman on the right, on Z's extreme right, of course, is the #1 challenger in the world. He sports a record of 22 wins, 5 defeats, 2 losses. He's the current South African champion, rated #1 in the world by the IBF. I refer to Mr. Jaji Sibali. Maybe at this time I'll let Z and Jaji come up and just say a few words. Z?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll try to be as short as I can. As much as Cedric said, myself and Jaji, unfortunately, if Jaji has to speak here, I'll have to be an interpreter because it's only me who will understand the language. So I'd rather talk on his behalf. First, I want to thank the Romero camp. The hospitality they've shown us since we came here. They've offered us everything we wanted as if we were not their opposition. That was very great. And those are good news that I want to take to South Africa. They showed us a good hospitality. And I also want to thank the people of Albuquerque, which I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Everybody was nice since we came down here. They've been very helpful to us. I also want to thank my friend Cedric Kushner for making this opportunity. We've been waiting for this chance for a long time, but because of course he's the only man that is getting the business of Jaji together, We waited for him. The business of being here is very simple and straightforward. It's to fight. And I can only promise the people one thing, that we came here to fight. As much as I've said, I was very thankful about the way the people of the Romero camp, they've handled us. But unfortunately, that the business that we're going to do in the ring is going to be different. We're going to fight. Understand that he has never, I've got his record with me, and it's the first time that he will see a man that will be in front of him for full 12 rounds. It will be up to him what he decides. But we're here, we're not just #1 contenders for a reason, just to fight. So I can only promise the people here that the Romero Jaji Sibali fight, probably it will steal the show, because I know that the champion is very good. He's a true world champion, we don't undermine. He's well known, right in Africa where I come from. Danny Romero is well known, but we said, we are the people that are going to come and fight Danny. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zeke. And now at this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Romero camp, the people that have cooperated and helped me find a way to get here today. The first person that I'd like to introduce is a friend, is a confidant of the Romero camp, of Danny Jr., Danny Sr. He's an attorney, a terrific guy, Mr. Ron Koch.
It's all been said before. We're ready to get it on. Never seen Danny any sharper, better shape. Exciting for Albuquerque. We're ready to go. We'll see you this weekend.
Thank you, Ron. This gentleman needs no introduction in Albuquerque. Well known, extremely well known. A great boxing man, understands what he needs to do. I won't say any more. I'm referring to none other than Danny Romero Sr. Nothing to say. Danny's going to do it all Saturday night. Danny, I'm proud to be associated with you. I've said numerous times that I think you're going to be a 4-time world champion. Saturday night, for the second time, you'll be defending your second world championship, your junior bantamweight championship, the IBF junior bantamweight championship. You've got a tough fight ahead of you. Jaji Sibali, as Z correctly said, has come here to fight. And that's what the game is all about, contests. And that's what Saturday night's going to be on the left-hand side, a contest. Danny, come up and say a few words to your fans. Thank you.
I come to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to win, win, and win. So with that, thank you for coming down for a long trip. You guys are going to leave with a tremendously beating, so we'll see you then.
At this point, we'll do a pose, and then the Romero camp will excuse themselves. So, Jaji, Z, let's do a pose, please.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Danny. Thanks, guys.
Now, once again, I'm going to turn the mic over to Todd DeBuff so that he can introduce Johnny Tapia and all his people. Todd?
Thank you very much, Cedric. I think we all can feel the tensions here, and I think it's about time that we let everyone know that Johnny has really been looking forward to getting this thing going. He's one of those fighters that always says, "Yeah, I need a fight. I need a fight. I want to fight again. I want to fight again." And that's when he's got cuts in his head, and it's right after the fight, he's ready to go 2 weeks later. So that's a lot said for the great champion. His opponent, Jorge Barrera, is a real tough challenger from Mexico. And when you hear the echoes of Barrera, everyone has that chills of those great body punches that his brother throws. Well, wait till you see this kid. He's a tough fighter, a real rugged fighter who is in there to win this title. He's accompanied with his manager, Oscar Maldonado, and at this point I'd like to introduce both of them and have them say a couple words.
Hello everybody, thanks for being here. We are very happy to be here with you fighting for the first time in Albuquerque. We would like to thank Top Rank for giving us the opportunity to fight Johnny Tapia. He's a great champion and we're ready to fight him on Saturday night.
Well, I guess now we get to the Sparks over here on my right. The one who's been training this little Spark over here on my right has been Jesse Reed. Just the other day, we were up in Big Bear and we stopped by Johnny's house. And as proud as he is, he really has a wonderful establishment there. And his manager, Teresa Tapia, has really put a great job together in putting a training facility up there. And Jesse Reed, who's trained many great fighters over the days and was a great fighter himself, is someone who's been orchestrating his training. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Jesse.
You know, to be a part of this great event as a coach, you always look for these kind of things to really show what you are as a coach. And to be a part of a young man like Johnny Tapia is probably the highlight of my life, because I've watched him through his career, and I dreamed of someday having a young man like Johnny, because he's been inside of a trash barrel, he's been on top of the mountain, and he keeps fighting, and he keeps fighting, and he keeps growing, and he's got something about him in his heart that millions of people would love to have. And I think the fans of Albuquerque, from watching every one of them cheering for this young man and feeling his heart pumping and feeling your heart pump in the stands, you can't thank people enough. But the fans of Albuquerque, God bless you for Johnny. You've made him the fighter he is. Johnny himself is showing the fans of Albuquerque what they mean to him. And the way you show up and the way you cheer, you're great. And we appreciate it. And to get back to Johnny, I remember a year and a half ago, a young man walked up to me in an amateur boxing match. And he said, "Someday you're going to be my coach." And it was Johnny. And my heart went out to him. You know, I almost cried. I wanted to grab him and hold him, and I was praying to God that that would happen. And here I am today. So I take on this responsibility. And believe me, you're going to see one heck of an athlete from now on. And my heart goes out to you fans and to Johnny. And God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Jesse. It's there are a lot of the people who are associated with Johnny Tapia have the same convictions when they have remarks about him, and the deep-rooted feelings about him, because that's what type of person he is. And I'd like to introduce Darius McCrory, one of his friends, and someone who also has had that feeling about it.
Hey, what's up, Albuquerque? All right, y'all ready for the Saturday? All right, well, I just want to say that Johnny and Teresa are very close friends of mine. I've watched Johnny train. I've been there with him in sparring matches. I've been there with him when he's hitting the bags. And you've never seen him look this sharp, this quick, this clean, this crisp. His reflexes, everything is just on. You're looking at a machine, and it's going to be on and popping. And look, Reed, you said that your heart goes out to the fans of Albuquerque. Well, Barrera, my heart goes out for you. And I'm looking forward to a good fight. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody out there. Come out and give your love to Mr. Tapia. And I'm proud to be a part of Team Tapia. Peace out.
That's the rhythm side of the Tapia thing. I have certain restraints right now that I'm emotionally about saying things, but I've never been involved in a press conference, first of all, when a camp leaves, and it's very disappointing for me as a promoter. I just think that we're all in this. This is a business. We're all in this together, and as rough as he may seem on the outside, as bad as the publicity people think he is, this is class. This is class. And enough said. I don't even think there's an introduction. This guy has lit up every television network, every TV across the world, and people know who the most entertaining, greatest fighter in the world is, and it's right here, Johnny Tapia.
First of all, I'd like to give a lot of thanks to the Lord. Everybody knows that I am fighting the Barrera, Jorge Barrera. I give a lot of respect to the Barrera family. They got a great champion in Marcos Antonio Barrera. He's a good friend of mine. And I do respect the Barrera family. They are very good people. And I'm glad they got here safe. But all I got to say is I refuse to lose, and come Saturday night, we're going to get it on. Thank you.
It's pretty quick and to the point. I think there were some announcements that were to be made. I don't have the list yet. Do you have those, Cedric? Actually, Cedric, you might as well do them while you're up here. All right?
I did want to come up as the promoter for Danny Romero. I would be remiss, Todd, if I didn't tell you that there's no love lost between the two camps. Your company and my company have had our difficulties in the past, and having said that, I guess it's part of the game. This is for real, and that's why boxing is a little different than some of the other sports. A loss is a very, very significant thing, and tensions are truly understandable. So if it's necessary, I'll apologize on Danny's behalf, because I do see him in the same way that I see Johnny, as a gentleman, and it's just one of those things. He wanted to leave and go back to the hotel. Let me get back to Saturday evening. A couple of last-minute announcements. First and foremost, the official weigh-in will take place right here at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. All the media credentials can be picked up at the weigh-in. Any credentials not picked up at the weigh-in will be placed at the will call window at the Albuquerque Convention Center. The doors to the Albuquerque Convention Center will open at 6:30 p.m. with a bonus fight starting at 7 p.m. The first bout at 7 p.m. The tickets are going great, and tickets can still be purchased at the Sandia Casino or at all the ProTix outlets in Furs supermarkets in Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, and Santa Fe, or by calling 851-5050. I think that about wraps up things for today. However, any of us who are still remaining on the dais, I'm sure would be prepared to answer some questions from the media only. Any questions?
Why don't we weren't able to at the time. Why don't we do the pose of Johnny and Barrera right down here for the cameras and everyone, and then interviews down here, and anyone has some questions, feel free to ask. Thank you all. Hello.
How about this one? Let's go. That's fine. That's fine.
Right. It's cool that Romero left because the real champion is still here. It don't make no difference. Looking at the real champion.
So let me use that shirt for a white balance.
I was trained you would. They just gave it to me.
Okay, Johnny. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That man will give you the shirt off his back.
Yeah.
Let me lower this down a little bit.
Yeah, he don't know how to
Okay, he's going to be right there? Okay. Yeah. Can he shut up? Hold on.
Don't worry about that. I mean, that's you know that.
Champ. First of all, Johnny, how important was the flip for you, the flip today, and the way you
said, I'll sit back.
How important was the whole flip? You coming in first, you deciding all that?
It don't make no difference. I'll go first. It don't matter. I'm not the type that likes to go last. I like to get out of there and go do what I got to do. Tell me, you know that.
Is it something though? It had to do with fighting too late or what?
No, it don't matter to me. If people want to see me fight, I want to give them a show. Once he hits me, it's going to go on.
What do you know? What do you know about Barrera right now? Have you seen him?
Barrera is a very good, skillful fighter.
Let me get that.
I got a lot in my hands. I refuse to lose. I'm going to keep it up.
How's the training been in Big Bear, and what's going on up there? I mean, how you feeling?
I love Big Bear. There's nothing like my home here in Albuquerque. I was born and raised, and I'll live and die in Albuquerque, and that's just the way I am.
Anything else about this, coming back to Albuquerque? How do you feel? How's everything?
I love it. This is my home away from home.
As far as, fight, how do you feel for the fight? I mean, anything?
I'm anxious to give the people a show. They all treat me good here, and like I say, I was born and raised, and I'll live and die in Albuquerque.
Talk a little bit about your friend here. I'll pull out a little bit.
My friend right here, he's a great man. This is Darius McQuarrie.
Okay.
He's one of the leaders from Family Matters. But besides that, he's my buddy, and we got a good touching base with each other.
Relationship is to support JT, come to watch him win. And what better way to come back than to his town? Because this is JT's town.
It's my town.
That's right, baby.
Anything else, Johnny, you want to tell me, to tell the New Mexico fans?
I like to tell them I'm back at home and everybody say a prayer for me. Nothing will go bad.
Okay. Thanks, Johnny. Take care. Thanks.
Ready? We're going to your room.
Is it true that Johnny Tapia is such a nice guy, he will give you the shirt off his back?
Oh yeah, he took it off and he gave it to me. You got it right here. It's
I mean, that's it right there.
Yep, right here.
You a Tapia fan?
Oh yeah, number one all the way.
All right.
He's gonna win it.
All right.
Today, winning by 22. The times are now set for the Johnny Tapia and Danny Romero separate fights at the Convention Center on Saturday night. All the fighters got together today for a press conference and a coin flip. Tapia won the flip. He elected to have Danny Romero fight the late fight. He's facing Jaji Sibali. Tapia decided to fight the 9 o'clock fight, the first one on HBO. He's up against Jorge Barrera. And then the fighters got to speak, and Romero had these words for his opponent from South Africa.
On behalf of the public, come to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to win, win, and win. So with that, thank you for coming down for a long trip. You guys are going to leave with a tremendously beating, so we'll see you then.
And then Danny just walked off the stage. He'll see him in the ring on Saturday. Great conditions all around the area for